Hi everyone, welcome to PowerQuest UK. It's Adam back with you for the weekly vlog. I hope everyone is keeping well and finally enjoying the decent weather we're now getting. I'm taking the opportunity with the improvements to come and sit up on my flybridge, which I haven't done, well, as you know, since I first got my boat. So I thought, why not? The eagle-eyed amongst you will spot that I'm not at the same moorings that I was, because that's just happened. The train's just gone past. Whereas the one I was at, there was nothing there. So yeah, that's where we are. Um, yeah, I've got a. I don't know quite how to talk about this. It's a quite a. It's a sensitive subject, but I had some bad news this Saturday just gone. Um, well, as you know, I've got several vehicles, excluding the ones that float. I've got two bikes, got two cars. That's no secret. And the older bike of the two, the Thunderbird, is currently in a workshop awaiting a new head gasket to be fitted and a couple of other bits after a collision that it was involved with last year. Well, my fault, I was rear-ended. I was okay after that, but the insurance process has been a nightmare. Not so much from my side, it's been the other, but I can't really talk about it because it's ongoing. But anyway, um, so yeah, I dropped my bike off to my friend, my mechanic, um, a couple of months ago, and I've been really busy since, so I haven't had a chance to catch up with him just to sort of stick my head around the door and say, I haven't forgotten or anything, and all that sort of palaver. So I, excuse the train. Um, so I popped around this Saturday. I managed to wake up early enough because that's the other thing. He only really has his workshop open for like half day, and well, I finish work on Friday so late and get home. I don't get up till semi late anyway. It's halfway through the morning by the time I'm sorted out. It'll be shut. But yeah, Saturday I was up early enough to get over there and to say stick me around door. So I've turned up. There's Al and a few of the others. Um, I've known for some time as well via Al and other things. Talking about sort of mental health stuff, and well, it's not an unusual conversation because many of us have had we've gone through issues in our lives, and we know people that's gone through issues in their lives. I'm no different. I'll probably talk about that in a moment. But yeah, so I was talking about that. As I say, that in itself, excuse that as well as motorbikes. Yeah, it's all right. This is quiet. It's just where I'm moored to. It's different. The it's a bit more central, but that's because of work and everything. But anyway, so I'm going off piece. So yeah. Anyway, they're talking away about all this, which isn't an unusual conversation, but was something I didn't expect to walk into. And anyway, Al turned around to me and said that a fellow, I'd call a friend as well, a mutual friend, we all sort of knew through his workshop, weirdly, or I did anyway. He committed suicide a couple of weeks ago. Um, Along with some other news I've had this year that I can't discuss, that really sort of yet again this year, it felt like I could have been knocked down with a feather. Um, Now, to put this into context, who Dane is, um, he was the owner of the Triumph Rocket 3 that I had a test ride of some time ago. So those of you who've been following this channel for a while, I'll try and drop a link somewhere to that episode. But the Triumph Rocket 3 has been one of my bucket list bikes. I think actually it's probably in the collection. It's probably in the sort of collection of two bucket bikes for me. I'd say the other one being a Ducati 916 to 996. I'd say that will probably be my other bucket bike if there was any. So the Rocket 3 had always been a bucket bike for me. And Dane had one, well, technically still has. And he very kindly offered to let me ride it. Now, those of you who haven't seen that episode, as I say, follow the link and you can see that. I'm just going to switch my hands over, get a bit of cramp. A bit of finger ache, sorry. So those of you who haven't seen it, obviously watch that, but I'll just quickly talk about the Rocket 3. Now, a Triumph Rocket 3, if you don't know what they are, they're a big cruiser they're a muscle bike that Triumph built. And the Rocket 3 is one of those bikes or cars, or it's one of those vehicles where the company will just go to the engineers, the designers, and say, crack on, fill your boots, and let's see what you come up with. It's one of them. It's built, it was designed and built without any real compromises. And I always love that. So how the Rocket 3 ended up, as I say, it's a big cruiser. It's got that one of Dane's has a 2.3 litre or 2,300cc 3-cylinder engine in it, or 2.3 litre. Standard power output, I can't remember what I think the power was about, I know that the torque standard is about 148 foot-pound of torque, and you've got to imagine all that's going to one wheel. They're just bonkers bikes, and as I say, it's always been a bucket list for me to ride one. Dane's one was actually tweaked up as well, for more mid-range of all things, and very kindly let me take it out for a ride. I absolutely loved it, and so I've not seen him for a while, but as I say, then I've been out of the loop for a little while to go down to the workshop and find out he'd taken his life. It was quite a shock. I think it's still sort of, touching now, really. But learning more about him, and the various struggles that he'd gone through in his life, and what things he did to kind of sort of keep him on a level. Probably the drinking wasn't a good idea, but I think drinking was a coping mechanism for him as well. But there was other things there that he did, and he couldn't always do them at times, and some were sort of coming away, and he that's what he did. Just shocking, really. As I said, he had personal things happen to him during his life, and that was it. So I'm going to quickly talk about. I mean, I've dealt with things in my life that would probably have, which I don't really want to discuss on here, really, because there's people that I maybe don't want to know my personal business, but I've had some real rough patches at times. It's been once or twice I've been made homeless, and I mean, fortunate I had work, so it was easier for me to find somewhere else. But no one wants to be put in that situation, which is kind of why I ended up on a boat, because I wanted a bit more security um, from forever privately renting. Um, so this for me is a bit more security, because at the end of the day, this girl's mine. Um, so long as I keep whatever marina or boatyard or whatever, as long as they're all happy with me, then that's cool. And it's a much simpler thing to follow than someone who privately owns a property who just suddenly decides they want to sell their property, sorry, serve you notice, you've got a month to get out. You could have lived there a year, you could have lived there 10 years, it don't matter. All that rigmarole, I didn't, I'm 50 now, so I didn't want that. So hence why I'm, honest, as good as it is, it doesn't come without compromises. But it's something I'll discuss when I get the other channel going, when. So anyway, yeah, as I said, I've gone through stuff. I did end up on antidepressants very briefly. Let's go back over 10 years now. I was fortunate. I was able to recognise what the problem was, and deal with it accordingly. And I was able to get myself off of them. And I've been fine since. But for other people, so I'm watching the trouble with the weather getting better is you're getting insects floating around. They kind of like to take your blood. So it's just flitting around a minute. Sorry. So yeah, I was able to get myself off of them, and I've fortunately never felt the need to go back on them. But that's other people in different situations, and they're on them long term. So yeah, and it's weird. One of the situations which I will talk about is my mum. God rest her soul. My mum did actually have a mental illness. She was diagnosed right at the time when she had her first episode back in the sort of mid 90s. Yeah, it was the first time I was working for PC World, so around about 95. And she had an episode. I'll not describe what happened, but it was hugely distressing, especially for a guy that's sort of 2021, just to see one of the people you love most in the world change. And what they called it at the time was manic depression. Mum was put under Section 2 of the Mental Health Act, which is when you're kept in a secure facility for 28 days. And they managed to get her onto some various medications, which got her back on a level, and Mum returned. Unfortunately, that wasn't the sole time that she had an episode. There was a few other times after that, but yeah, it's a scary thing. Mum's the same. Mum's not suffering anymore. But what she had was later described as bipolar. At the time, it was manic depression, but they've changed it to bipolar. And as I say, she'd gone through episodes a few other times. And it's, I won't wish it on my worst enemy. So, yeah. I mean, don't worry about this. Obviously, I'm emotional, justifiably. But if I've got a message to anyone out there, if you ever feel like things are getting on top of you, whatever, you can't cope, for the love of God, speak. Do not boil it up. No matter how stupid you think it is, speak about it. Because otherwise, you could end up somewhere much worse. All right? So, I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to leave it on a higher note. We've got recorded content coming up this week. Tomorrow night, that is, I'm trying to remember now because it's just got out of my head. A return to the British colony for lepers over near Hanningfield. So there's a return to that. That's Rudy, Gloria, Paul, myself. I've gone over there for just to see if there's anything that needed help or whatever. So that's coming up tomorrow night. Yeah, British Home for Lepers. And then obviously next week we are going to have our round table. I can't remember what the subject is off the top of my head, but obviously there'll be another vlog on Monday, and we'll be able to tell you what the topic will be, and you can come online, talk with us about it, you know, your thoughts and your ideas and all that sort of thing. But yeah, so anyway, right, now this is a bit of a longer than normal vlog, but yeah, I'm gonna leave it there. Like I said, recorded content tomorrow night. A return to the British Home for Lepers. It was a site I went to. Halloween, not the one just gone, one before last. That was 23. So that was a Halloween live stream that I did originally. Return there to, you know, just to sign it off, as it were. So that's what's coming up tomorrow night. And then, as I say, next Wednesday, so it's not this Wednesday, but next Wednesday, will be the next round table where we pick a topic and discuss about it. All right. Thanks everyone for bearing with. I don't normally do emotional stuff on here. I try and keep that for my own whatever. But I think stuff has to be said sometimes. Love and light to you all. God bless you all. See you tomorrow night for the British Leper Colony. Thank you. Oh, bloody thing. Excuse me. It's not stopping.